We were kind of forced into our transformation of the company due to the fact that we were under financial supervision. So we realized that we needed to make changes. So it kind of gave us the nudge that we needed to go forward with that. But then we realized also that by not keeping up with technology that we would be falling further and further behind. So it was something that we felt like, or I felt like, we had to have in order for the company to stay successful and be profitable at some point in time with our agents, with our partners. Originally, we had to get the finances under control because of the financial supervision, and some of the things we done with that was, which led into a lot of the other technological advances, but we reduced a lot of our policies because we had the loss of history. It was on those. We had to terminate a few agents because their loss experience was bad for the company as well. All of that kind of built into re-underwriting our book of business, taking a look at our expenses and figuring out ways to become much more efficient. So one of the first things we did was to go paperless, and contacted several vendors to talk to them about that. But it's a little bit of a detriment being a small company because a lot of the big players don't want to have anything to do with you. The paperless system allowed us to become much more efficient internally. The handling of the files, the storage of the documents. We eliminated an entire room of file cabinets when that happened. So that was kind of the building point, and our next step was looking for a quoting system, online quoting system, web-based. And so we felt like that our agents was headed in that direction, and that the need was there, and if we didn't have that in place, that our agents most likely would discontinue writing business for us. So we went on the search for that and happened to run into the guys from Brightcore, which wasn't Brightcore at the time, it was totally something different. And they done a web-based quoting system for us, and it allows us to basically see everything we have in our office from a remote location as long as we have internet access. AAIS was a great partner with us because we were able to just upload those forms directly from the website that AAIS has, and we pulled the PDFs and we just drop them into our operating system, which makes the build of those product lines and processing much easier. We no longer had to buy the forms because we were able to print them in our office when we needed them, and they would just automatically flow out of the system whenever we added coverages on. So every form that we have with AAIS is inside of Brightcore, and it's just a matter of uploading a document into it. So that's how simple it is. And, that relationship made it much better for us to put that product together. Just 7-8 months ago, started outsourcing our printing. So that allowed us kind of the last piece in the puzzle that we needed for our disaster recovery product, to be able to totally walk away from our office if we needed to and continue doing business without any issues whatsoever. And the vendor that we're using for that is Mass Printing. And they're fully integrated with Brightcore, and they have an API that pulls all of our documents in from our daily print cycle and sends it to them, and then they print them off and mail them out for us. And our printing, we basically do 4 or 5 pieces of mail a day now versus maybe 350 pieces of mail. So that was the big stumbling block that we had in being able to maintain that brick and mortar office for a long period of time. We're looking to go into mobile apps because we think that's the future, that's where the future lies. And as I had mentioned previously, I read an article in Rough Notes that said that 72 of the top 100 companies don't even have mobile app access to their clients. So we're building the insured portal for the mobile apps. They'll be able to see their documents, they'll be able to access their coverage, they'll be able to make their payments, they'll be able to upload photos, they'll be able to send us messages, they'll be able to file a claim, all of that in the palm of your hand. So we feel like that's really a great transition for our company and a great direction to go. And then a short time later, we'll be adding a similar app that will work with iPhones and Android devices. So they'll be able to get the app and work on it, but we'll have adjuster apps similar function. They'll be able to upload the adjuster report and the photos directly into the system, and the people internally and managers will be able to view it immediately. So you have the quick access from the field to the office in that sense. Same thing for the inspection portal. They'll be able to upload the inspection report and the photos, and if there's some immediate attention that needs to be done on those, and the speed of getting to the issues at hand. So we're really looking forward to getting that to launch, and hopefully it works out as we think it will. We were able to manage the entire operation of the company with what used to be 8 employees, took it down to 5. And even at that, the efficiencies that was built in, we had points that they were looking for things to do because it was a lot less work. 47% of our premium payments come in electronically, and nobody has to touch those. They just process through and go on in. So that, having reduced the employees, obviously reduced their health insurance costs and all of those other associated benefits that go along with it. So that was a big number that brought our expenses down. But the other thing was, early on, I created a business plan and went to the market for our reinsurance coverage, which in all small companies, their reinsurance cost is the big ticket item that they have. So I was fortunate enough to create a partnership with reinsurers, which we are now going into our 13th year as partners on that. We cut our reinsurance costs by, at that point in time, about 42% to what we had been paying. And it since came down. We had a trend there of 11 consecutive years of reducing our reinsurance cost, which is almost unheard of in itself. But because of our loss experience that we had, we were able to trend that downward. So those two factors alone moved our points way down on our expense ratio. And then, we worked on our claims really hard. When we were in financial difficulties, our annual claims numbered around average about 550 claims a year. And once we went through the reorganization part of it, our annual claims are down to around 250 a year. And they've been holding steady at that now for about the last 9 years. So you take out 250 or 300 claims to what your average is, and that in itself cuts things down considerably as well. So combination of those really was the big part in improving our bottom line.